post-truth, post-West, and post-order. What does it mean?
Let me help. Post-truth, an age where emotions trump facts. Post-West, where America, Europe no longer matter. Post-order, a world of anarchy, lawlessness, violence, and chaos. Spooky. You'd think that they were discussing life on Earth after an asteroid impact. But no, it's more about how to blame everything that's gone wrong in the world on Russia.
A new level of fake news, of hybrid warfare, of using the digital world to disseminate information that is nothing but propaganda.
Just look at what Russia did during the US election. All that hacking. And since we're in the post-truth age, all of that is entirely based on US intelligence opinion. They say so themselves, no facts. Still, Europe is entirely likely to be next.
Are we entering an era of illiberalism where authoritarian governments are going to replace more and more traditional Western value-based democracies? Question mark.
Sure looks that way. Did you know that a third of right-wing voters in Germany trust Putin more than Angela Merkel? Not surprising. You know what is shocking? The same poll found that 30% of left-wing voters also trust Putin more than Merkel. Question, what does that show? That people trust Putin more, or that they distrust Merkel?
This decline of the West, the disappearance of the classic leadership nation of the West.
The problem is that other than sanction this or bomb that, the West hasn't really had a Middle East policy.
On the biggest question of all, from which everything else flows, the question of US responsibility for global order, Trump clearly has little interest in continuing to shoulder that burden. The US is, for now, out of the world order business.
The authors seem upset that after Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Trump and his voters seem to have learned their lesson. And not just them. Recent events in Syria, the ongoing ceasefire, talks, Russia.
Nowhere have the new realities become more apparent than in Syria. Backed by Iran and Russia, President Assad recently achieved his most significant victory, the fall of Aleppo.
Ah, yes, the Russian threat, the boogeyman that can magically invade anywhere, anytime, for any reason, with an army that is actually tiny in comparison to NATO. After all, that's all that Russia dreams of doing.
Russia has been problematic in a lot of ways. For example, with Crimea. This is not the way, again, the way they put it, the Western order is supposed to be. But let's be honest, we need to work with Russia, right? We'd prefer to be in a world where the West and the United States works with Russia as opposed to being at each other's throats, right? That's obviously a world we all want to live in. The Bush administration tried to work with Putin and the Russians. So has the Obama administration. So for people to get scared that Donald Trump wants to work with Russia, why would he want to work with Russia? I think it totally makes sense. I think the report itself is frankly hysterical. I think this hysteria that we're seeing in the media and in these white papers, like in the Munich report, I think they're overblown. I think they're ridiculous. I think in some cases they're even offensive.
We even got an honorable mention. They wrote about RT's budget, which they said was $400 million. In reality, it's $220 million. We received a quick apology and a promise to contact the researchers responsible for the mistake. What can you say? Welcome to the post-truth world.
The U.S. military admits to using a radioactive substance known to cause cancer and generations of birth defects in the coalition bombing campaign in Syria. That story and more after a short break.